What's up, everyone? Welcome back to this channel. I'm Elrona D'Souza from S&K HR Consulting, your trusted partner for HR in the UAE. Today's topic is about WPS. Before we get into the topic, if you can take a second and subscribe, that would be great. So now that is out of the way, let's talk about WPS. Now, WPS is an acronym that is very special to the UAE. It stands for Wage Protection System. And just like the name, it helps to protect wages of employees in the private sector. So every company that is in the private sector is expected to comply with this system. Now, this system was set up between two government organizations, the Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratization and the Central Bank. They work behind the scenes hand in hand to make sure that a company pays their employee and the employee receives the payment. And this is tracked electronically and reports are made to make sure that there is compliance to this system. So how does that work and how does that apply to your business? So as a business, when you set up, you need to know the place that you're set up, you need to comply with WPS or not. So certain free zones and all of mainland requires companies that are in the private sector to be WPS compliant. And this can be worked out through either your bank system or through an exchange house. You can set up accounts with either of these financial institutions to facilitate the WPS system. And there are special information that you need to have and a system set up to make sure that this information is passed. Now, what is this information? So one of them is called the MOL ID or a personal ID, which is issued by the Ministry of Human Resources as part of the work permit process. So this number needs to be provided every time you pay your employee. The other one is called an employee ID or the company, that is the employer's ID, which is also issued by the Mohre when you establish a file with them. So these two numbers are very, very important to be able to help you be compliant with WPS. The third thing that you need to have is bank details from your employee to make sure that the amount is going to the right bank account. And the fourth thing that you need to make sure is you put in the proper dates. It's the first day of work to the last day of work for the period that you're paying this employee. That is also equally important because that is tracked and non-compliance will be flagged up by Mohre and then you have to prove that you have paid the employee continuously. There's also two things to keep in mind when it comes to checking whether you're WPS compliant or not. And that is to make sure that you have paid 80% of your total wages to 80% of your employees. So how does that work in real? So if let's say you have 10 employees and you have to pay all 10 employees, but let's say you have one employee that's joining and the paperwork is not in order, so that person doesn't come under WPS. So that is what it turns out to be is that you're able to pay 9 out of your 10 employees through WPS. So effectively, you're coming closer to that 80% threshold. So you have to keep this in mind while processing WPS, that you never are less than 80% of your total wages and your total employees. If you do fall under these thresholds, then you will have to demonstrate to Mohre as to why is this the case. And that we will cover in a separate video on how to follow and how to demonstrate compliance to WPS even though it's not through the system. That's a lot of information I have just shared with you and I'm sure you have questions. So please share those questions in the comments below and we'll try and answer all of them. So I look forward to the comments, and before I say goodbye, please don't forget to hit the notification icon so when we share more content on this channel, you're able to get it. That's it. See you in the next episode.